Hi. I'm laughing because it's my first time doing 3 takes. I just kept doing silly things. Anyway, I'm going to paint fuchsia. I know I paint the same things a lot, but I was thinking there that it doesn't seem to matter so much what I paint. What seems to matter for me is that I do it, that I do something. I mean, actually, you know, Callum got these flowers for Erin, and I love that daisy. I could maybe do that, couldn't I, for a change? I've got these fuchsia. I mean, they're gorgeous, aren't they? Yeah, I think I'll go with the fuchsia again. And I'll maybe do those flowers another day. I've also got this lovely collage paper that the flowers came in that I thought I could use as well, but not for the fuchsia so much. Maybe I could maybe use it. Anyway, so I was saying, not so much what I paint, but the act of slowing down, being attentive, and just playing with colour, really playing with colour, and texture, pattern, all of that stuff. I'm going to take off my shoes now. I sometimes forget to do that actually. Take off my shoes and I'm going to turn you around there and I'll see what happens. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do in terms of what material I'm going to use, but this is quite a good setup, isn't it? In a way, it might seem a bit boring, but hopefully whatever's going to happen on here is going to be exciting. Okay. Alright, so let's start out with, I could have done with a stick. I'll start with some kitchen paper and red ink, acrylic ink. I've got my box of inks over here. In a way, you're kind of seeing very little, aren't you? With my plan to have a very professional picture happening here. It means that you don't so much see all the stuff around that I'm selecting from, but I think that's alright as long as something happens on here. It's okay. Just getting a few other things together now. This is a different kind of ink, different colour slightly. Actually, it's the same. I'm going to stick down that paper a bit better now because it's annoying moving about like that. The thing about fuchsia is they're probably not going to be around for much longer, and I'm excited to paint them for that reason. I'm going for a third red ink. This one might be a deeper tone. Shakers. Okay, I thought it was finished. Oh wow, look at that. That's great, isn't it? Can you see that? You can. Okay. Yeah, that's the colour. And of course then we have the green as well. And I know I don't have exactly the green, but I have got some green ink and it might work. I'm just gonna half close my eyes and put it. Yeah, I remember having to put yellow with the green in order to give it a more fuchsia leaf quality. So here it is now mixed with yellow. That's better. Okay. It does get a bit kind of bluer, so I put more green in it to go over that way. Okay. And actually I'm quite liking the backdrop of the grey plant pot. Can't really see it so well there, but there's a grey coloured, remember I used the silver, actually that will work. I used that before, you know, for the line dividing the, yeah, what was I saying? For the line dividing, that's my picture. Sorry about this, guys. Close up. The line in between the, you know, and that pot has got it's got a nice bright blue line there. And I like the silver paper to explain it. I might actually take it off a bit though. and just have like a piece on either side of the red, and it's slightly diagonal as well. Okay. And actually I'm just going to use some of that red ink. I'll spill the green again. I spilled the green, so I'm just using it there. I might use some of that red again. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm just spilling it all over the place. I thought that was the emptier red. I might use the red to stick it on there so that it stands out more than the band. You can let her in here, Erin, so as long as she's not going to go nuts. Will you let her in again in a minute, Erin? Will you let her in a minute? Right, so yeah, the idea there was that that would look as though it was hanging in front of the band. We'll see, it may work. No, I was going to put some grey on. It's like a blue-grey colour. Maybe even, like I'm looking at these here, right, and to see which one is going to most closely resemble the plant pot. Get something a bit like that below the line, and it's a kind of a bluer one then above the line, but it's not that bright a blue now. That'd be more for the line dividing it, really. Oh yeah, this one. It's a grey blue. With my eyes half closed, actually the pot isn't that dark, but it's just around the sides that it gets that dark, I think. Sure, I can always put some white over that anyway if it's too dominant. That blue. I'm just going to stand back a little bit and see. Yeah, it's alright. I'll maybe not subdue it so much yet. She said subduing it. No, Lily's been out at the cinema with her 2 friends today, and I wonder if they're going to end up barging in any minute. She keeps asking me to take her around in the car so they can have a drive around and a sing song in the car they love. Well, she likes to do that. But that's not happening at the moment, eh? No, so that's the vase. I think maybe this colour. I don't know why I'm getting so trigger happy with the vase. But sure, I could use the oil pastel as well now to describe some of this. I like the idea of using the oil pastel to describe the fuchsia over the red that's already there. So we have a starting point with the red that's already there, and then I'm going to just explain a little bit more the shape of the fuchsia with the red oil pastel. There's one dangling down here that's open. Might be quite nice to describe that with the ink. You can still see all the way down there, you can. And if I hold the stick vertically, it might flow a bit more freely. With any luck. Yeah, I think I need to get more of that rich red ink. Let's see what else I've got here. That's a rich red. It's a pretty bright red. It's quite runny as well. I think it'll work for the fuchsia that's in front here. There's a kind of a slapdash attitude to these flower paintings, isn't there? But it's a slapdash that seems to kind of work for me. I feel a bit like free as I'm working on them, and I don't have any desperate desire to do something like epic. And then it feels like what happens is kind of fresh and new and feels a bit playful and not critical. You know, there's nothing too critical happening here. Now maybe the leaves too could be described with some of the oil pastel and given just a little bit more substance. I'm just kind of randomly selecting whatever leaf reveals itself in the moment to me. And this is a slightly different kind of grey-green colour. It's quite grey, isn't it? That might actually have been a good one for the pot itself. Seems to me like that one needs to be more colourful, that green there. And I think that that grey is the one that I want to use to describe the bits in between the fuchsia, the spaces in between, because actually in places that colour is brighter than the fuchsia. No, it's darker, I think. I don't know, it's different anyway. So it's a good different. I like the way it's different from the fuchsia that sits in front of it. It's merging a bit with the ink now, but that's alright. Is it alright? I think it's alright. Leave it alone for now anyway. Yeah, actual fact, no, that's actually an actual fact. That is lighter in tone than the red beside it. So I can make it a little bit lighter with this yellowish colour blending into the blue. That yellowish colour might be the bottom half of the vase. It might work for us all. Okay, so now let's see. These drips might be a bit problematic. Erin, will you let Maisie in? Because what's happening there is I'm picking up the red with the oil pastel. Thanks. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just let that occupy a bit more space, the lower half of the vase. Maisie had a great run today with her pals there. Now she met some dogs down in the field, and it was really good for her. She had just a lovely boundy play. I think she loves that so much, you know. I mean, it's the same with us. You can tell nowadays, especially, it's important for us to be able to socialise with our own kind, isn't it? Right, so what am I doing now? I think I'm going to continue with the bright colour. Not too much though. Just to describe the brighter leaves there. Maybe just the more dull leaves too, actually. The ones that are overlapping each other over here. And kind of overlapping some of these buds as well. Yeah, it's all a bit tumbly. Quite liking the flower that's hanging down over the back as well there. Through the leaves I can see one that's coming down there. That might be nice to describe with this ink and this stick. Probably would be nicer if the whole thing was available to see. But even the bit that I can see has a dainty kind of delicate feel, and I think will add something to the picture and give it a bit of, you know, these fine lines of the stamen hanging down. I quite like if I can get the ink to flow for me. So I had a swim in the reservoir this morning. I went over, I was in my bed, I decided to go. I thought I could have a really good start to the day if I go to the reservoir, have a swim, and then get on with the rest of the things. And I thought, I'd be sitting musing in bed for another half an hour about all the things I need to do and all the rest of it, when I could be sitting on the banks of the reservoir. And I know as soon as I have been in the water, my perspective on everything changes. It's a very good way for me to feel like I'm coming back home to myself. Anyway, what I did was I went in, I had my cup of tea after, sitting on a rock, sun shining, not a bit cold, to be honest with you. Afterwards especially, I feel very invigorated and my whole body feels warm. I feel warm to the core. And the sun, of course, was shiny as well. So I did actually, there was something warm in my system as well from the outside. Anyway, why am I talking about that? I wanted to say something about that. I don't know what I was going to say. I only had the 5 minutes anyway, but it was enough. Like, I went and I sat, had my, when I say swim now, I did actually swim, but I only stayed in for like maybe 3 minutes or something. Back out, ran back in again. I really loved the entry into the water, and I love throwing the water up over my head and seeing it glistening in the sun, all those droplets, and then how they fall on top of me like heavy rain, or like big droplets of rain just over my head. It's very, very nice to do that. It actually looks really lovely as well, like, and then they fall on top of me. I feel I'm being blessed by the drops of water. Something like that happens. So, honestly, what a gift to have somewhere like that just a few minutes up the road. It's incredible. Really incredible. And you know what I did afterwards? I just wrapped myself up in my red blanket, and I felt like a real, there's nobody around really. I felt like a real wild woman just heading back into the car with my blanket around me and a cup of tea. And I had my boots and a blanket. And yeah, it was just a very, very good start to the day. Everything felt more manageable. Like half the things that I had planned to do, I didn't do. And it's okay. No, I want to do some sort of purpley thing on the inside of the floor. Are you able to see what I'm doing? You can, yeah. I know it's all a bit nondescript, but I don't know if it's helpful to do the bottom of that. Maybe not just now. I'll try the blue. I wanted to go and reach for the chalk pastels that are sitting behind there. I suppose people call them soft pastels, do they? Or am I saying the wrong thing when I say chalk pastels? But they're sitting behind the table there. It's just a bit of a stretch to get them. So I thought maybe I can describe the purple inside with something different. I love this ultramarine blue ink. It's got a nice fine line to it. Just adds something, doesn't it? And I could maybe use that too in some of those leaves. One of my things I was going to do today, right, I'll share this with you now. I'm doing another online workshop for 6 weeks. I think there's one space left. It might be full if I check my emails. I sent the information out to a few more folk today, so that last space might be taken, but if not, get in touch. If it's, if you're interested in it, don't worry, just get in touch in case it might still be available, and it'd be lovely. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about that is because one of the jobs I was doing today was I thought it might be a nice idea to actually film a short video showing the materials, as well as giving a list of the materials I wanted people to have access to over the 6 weeks for the flowers. But I didn't do that video. And then I realised that actually what the issue is that first I need to gather, there's a few steps rather than just putting it on the list of things to do the video with the materials. There's actually some steps I need to take there now. The first step is I need to decide what materials I want people to have. The second thing is I want to find them for myself. And around the house here I've got, things like big brushes and rollers and stuff, and what paint I would like people to have. And it's not a rigid thing, it's this kind of stuff we'll be doing, so it's really, well, this is part of it for the flower painting course. It's going to be partly mixed media flowers and partly still mixed media, but oil over acrylic is another part of it. It's kind of optional, really. Anyway, I was going to record a video where I've got everything laid out on the table beside me, and I'm picking it up and saying, and you can maybe use this to describe the blah de blah, and yeah, you see, there's a bit of work involved, isn't there, in deciding what I want to say on that video, rather than just say I'll do a materials video. So maybe the good idea might be to write out the list first of everything I would like people to have, and then I'll get it into my head as to what materials I want folk to have and why, and then I'll be able to more easily do the video, won't I? So maybe it's the practical side that needs to, the actual written side that needs to happen first, and then I can do the practical side. Okay. I sound a bit like incoherent sometimes. I think maybe it's a slightly different part of my brain that's occupied with painting than what would be occupied when I'm planning the class. So hopefully the playfulness of this will be there, but the coherent kind of list of materials will be easy. Will be clear. Folk. Goodness sake, this big long-winded thing. And the other thing I was going to do today was to go through my bag of receipts, invoices and things, paper invoices, and sometimes I go to the shop for flowers for my online course, or for my watercolor portrait, or for the flower painting workshops, and I end up forgetting that I've paid for those. I don't end up claiming for them. So what I wanted to do was to go through my receipts and see where I've bought flowers for myself or for my workshops that I could end up claiming money back for as part of my expenses. So that's one of the jobs I want to do right now. Well, one of the jobs I was going to do today. It's amazing. It'll probably take me 5 minutes, and it's been in my head to do that now for, I'd say, at least 2 months. Imagine. Okay, now white. You see, I want to get that clear white oil pastel. Although the background is a kind of turquoisey blue here, why don't I use the soft pastels? Soft pastels are back here. I was thinking of using white in between the flowers there, but instead I'll maybe find the wall colour in the pastels. Or even silver might be quite nice. Silver ink is nice. But look, I mean, how could you resist these? Like, look at all those colours. Right, so it's guaranteed to be one that'll work for the wall. Some one of those. I want it to be quite light though, so I'm going to go with this one, because I want it to read almost like white, and it is significantly brighter, the wall behind, than the flowers sitting in front. And it'll allow me to kind of outline some of those stems as well, maybe. You know, the way you can bring the chalk up to meet the stem on either side. So drawing it up to the edge makes the stem happen. I'm going to stand back and see what I think of that now. It's okay. I just use it to draw with in places as well, to let it be known that this is the background wall colour, and not just splash of blue because I fancy it. So with my eyes half closed, the background is brighter in places and actually slightly darker in places too than the foreground fades. Oh, there goes half of it. Eyes half closed and I'm still trying to find the shape of the gaps in there without being too descriptive. So the other half fell to the ground and smashed into flowery. There's some flowery soft pastel on the worktop there. Amazing stuff, this. Right, so, and I think this side is definitely brighter than the vase. The other side not so much, so I think I could darken the tone in that. I might use the other. See this chalk pastel's a little bit darker but a similar colour. Kind of happy that that's working on the other side. And I could even use colour in the. I could use a colour from the soft pastels to describe the vase again there. Just the edge. I wonder should I put a bottom on that vase? Nah. So Erin and Callum have been working in Sainsbury's today. The two of them were working today. And they just had a roast dinner. We even had stuffing and cranberry sauce. Just fancied it today. I didn't eat it myself because I had tons of vegetable soup earlier. But I might have some tomorrow. It looked quite appealing to see them at it. Yorkshire puddings. You know, I do this gratitude list every day, and it's been marked how often food is mentioned. Very often it's like pretty much 90% of the stuff that I talk about being grateful for has a relationship to food or the sun, water, that kind of thing. Is this all a bit messy? I wonder if it would be good to clarify that, because there's a kind of a down and up thing going on here. I think partly what's happening is that there's a nice dark edge too to some of those leaves in the stem, and up that way. I'm going over here. It's quite dark. Quite dark there. This is the dark brown chalk that I'm using now. And I know the leaves aren't actually brown, but it was the first one that came to me there. Maybe this indigo-ish colour might be even better. It's quite hard, that pastel. It's pretty well black, isn't it? Let's see how that works. I think I need a green one, and I want it to really make an impact there, so I'm going to let the green be oil pastel, that dark oil pastel leaf sticking up there. So I need to kind of recover some ground against that background of soft pastel, I reckon. And there's so many reds in here now. What would happen if I was to put some really bright red there? Oh, isn't that, oh my gosh, look at that. That really stands out there. Breaking apart as well. I think I'm probably not using these very well, do I? have a kind of slightly sometimes heavy-handed approach. And here, I wonder if this is going to be one of the videos that turns out to have no sound on it. Hopefully not. Right, some green leafy colour. There's so many colours in this box of oil pastels. And every green under the sun there. How is it? How is it doing? The thing that I want to do now is to really distinguish I want to distinguish the pot from the flowers that are sitting in front of it. Looking for the white. I think the white is maybe the one to do that. A white oil pastel here. I know it's not actually white underneath, but I can always put the grey over it. I just wanted to find where the flowers stop and the pot starts in between them, so that it can be a little bit more clear that they're overlapping the pot. It's a bit of a wild card, really, the whole idea. Yeah, it's alright though. Maybe another shot of the red. Especially in this one here. Just do a second one. Lift the reds a bit higher. Something needs to happen down there, does it? For the bottom of the vase, or is that just going to be a distraction? You don't have the full picture there. Yeah. I think I might just stop. Sorry, putting the microphone